here's the thing. Whether you're satisfied with your life or not right now, you are where you are, right? You can be dissatisfied with where you're at and make progress to go somewhere else, but that's not going to change the fact that right now in this moment, this is where you are. This is what your life is. This is a result of all the decisions you've made in the past and things that you've been affected by, right? So what is the point in being upset with it, right? Because whether you're okay with it or whether you're not okay with it, nothing in this moment is going to change, right? You can want more from life. You can desire to be somewhere else, but you cannot put like a caveat on the fact that you're only okay once you get there. You have to choose to be okay now, right? Because now isn't changing in this very moment, right? Your present moment can change in a year as a result of doing different things, but at every moment, if you're walking a path that can ultimately get you to where you're trying to go, or can ultimately just be a path that you're okay with walking, right? A day that you're okay waking up and living, a pursuit outside of yourself that you're okay with pursuing. It doesn't matter if you've achieved it or not. It doesn't matter if you've gotten the things that you're chasing after or not, right? Because if you continue to basically wait for those things to be okay with your life, you are putting your happiness in the future. You're putting your satisfaction in the future. And what did we say, right? The only moment that exists is the present moment. We only embody the now. So if your happiness, if your satisfaction with life lives only in the future, when are you ever going to be happy? When are you ever going to be satisfied with life, right? If you always say, I'll be okay once I get this, I'll be okay once I get there, I'll be okay once I've accomplished this, you'll never be okay. Because by the time you accomplish that, you'll have something else that you've made the same condition within your brain that you need to accomplish or you need to have in order to feel okay with yourself. So it's the same way that the only moment you can ever take action on anything is now. The only moment you can ever decide to be okay with where you're at in life is right now. You have to choose to be happy and be satisfied with your life in the present moment, because we don't exist in the future. And so if your condition of being, right, if your state of happiness, your state of joy rests on an endeavor in the future, rests on having something, you'll never actually be okay with your life, because you'll never be at that moment in the future, right? You're going to be in the present moment of the now. And if you continue to put that into the future, you won't even be able to tell when you've actually gotten to that moment and accomplished that. Right? So you have to be okay with the path you're walking right now. I'm not telling you that you can't. I'm not telling you anything, actually. I'm telling you nothing. I'm talking from my own experience and just kind of with the way our brains work and the way we interface with the world. I'm not saying that I think it's wrong to want more from life. I'm not saying that I think it's wrong to desire to be something greater in the world. I'm not saying that it's wrong to be, to an extent, unsatisfied with where you're at in life and the things you have. But if you use the things you don't have as an excuse to be deeply unsatisfied or unhappy with where you're at in life, you will never achieve the sense of satisfaction or the sense of happiness that you're looking for. Right? You have to understand that things are never going to be perfect. You're never going to have your ducks in a row the way you want to have your ducks in a row. And so if the condition of your happiness rests on having everything in your life in order, you'll quite literally never be happy. Right? First, you have to make peace with where you're at in life right now. You have to make peace with the fact that nothing in your life is ever going to be all the way perfect. You're never going to have your life as together as you want your life to be together. And then once you make peace with all those things, you decide that regardless, I want to enjoy my life. Right? Regardless of whether I get those things, regardless of whether I accomplish those things or not, I want to be happy. I want to be satisfied. I want to experience joy in my life anyways. So why rest the condition of your joy, the condition of your being, the state of your happiness on something else, right? Don't do that. It's just not going to it's not going to bring any benefit to you, right? The things that we wake up and do every day, the routine that we live, the experience that we're embodying, the things that we're interacting with, that's where you have to draw on satisfaction from, which is why you need to walk a meaningful path, right? But a meaningful path is different to everybody. You need to walk a path that is truly meaningful to you. If you try to live somebody else's life, you're not going to be walking a meaningful path. If you try to go after things that other people have told you to want, you're not even going to be chasing things that'll bring you any sense of satisfaction. You need to be walking a meaningful path that can lead you to an even more satisfactory life, right? And find the satisfaction in the fact that you're walking that path, not in where you're ultimately trying to get. It's the cliche saying they always say, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. And it truly is. Because if your eyes are constantly set on getting there, you're going to miss the entire experience of life. Right? Because by the time you're 30, you'll want something by the time you're 40. And by the time you're 40, you'll want something by the time you're 50. And if you're always saying, I'll be fine then, I'll be okay then, it'll be enough then, eventually you're on your deathbed and you're still wanting things and you realize that life has passed you by in an instant, right? So you have to find the satisfaction from the things you're doing. I started reading a Schopenhauer book last night, and it's kind of crazy because it's like, I did this whole thing. I had ChatGPT like rank books and kind of tried to figure out a way with like, if I want to read all these authors, where should I start? I've tried to dive into philosophy before, and some of it can be really, really heavy. And if you're not used to reading it, it's almost like reading a foreign language because they're describing thought processes. So it's you have to be very focused. And if you can't get your brain to focus, you'll read entire pages and you won't even know what was said. So I was reading Schopenhauer last night called The Wisdom of Life. He has a concept, I think he took it from Plato, it's called, or maybe he took it from Aristotle is what he said. It's called eudaimonology, right? It is a theory of an art of ordering our lives to obtain basically the greatest amount of pleasure and success. So just from that definition alone, you have to figure out where do we derive the most amount of pleasure and the most amount of success from, right? This doesn't mean hedonism. This doesn't mean do a bunch of drugs, have a bunch of sex, have a bunch of short-term, fleeting dopamine hits that are going to leave you with no lasting things. No, it means ordering your life in a way that you do things you like in a realm of a market that you like, that ultimately can also lead you to things you like, right? He says we're ordered by, or we are, I don't remember. This was another thing from Aristotle. It was about where we receive blessings from. What a man is, what a man has, and how a man stands in the estimation of others. So basically your reputation, right? What you are all of your personality characteristics, things you can change, things you can't change, right? It's how you look, it's your height, it's your temperament, it's your sense of humor, it's your strength, it's all that sort of stuff. Max those out. Max out everything in your control, right? What he has is just physical property, flat out. And then the other one's reputation. Okay, but he had a really good quote that basically comes from this. It says, the foolish reader envies the poet. All right, so there's a story about a poet who's constantly receiving blessings, right? And he writes about these blessings. Schopenhauer says, the foolish reader envies the poet because so many great things happen to him. Instead of envying the mighty power of his fantasy that turned the common experience into something so great and beautiful. So basically what he's saying is he painted his life, right? He is telling stories of his great blessings. And everybody's envious of the blessings he received. They said, I want to receive those blessings. I want to be as lucky as this guy. Right? And he's saying you're missing the point. What that guy did is he was so present in every moment that he could see the beauty of every small situation, right? Somebody holds the door from him, he considered himself a lucky guy. And I'm just like purely speculation here because I don't even really know what poet he was talking about and I didn't read it. But it's true. That goes right back to the point of like if you're so caught up in what's to come, and that's where all of your happiness lies, you're not going to be you're not going to be happy in the present moment. If you wake up every day and you truly try to count your blessings and you truly try to see the beauty of every moment possible, to seek out every blessing of every day, to really relish in every beautiful moment. Every time somebody does something nice for you, every time you have a little bit of luck come your way, we'll all see that we're all more blessed and we're all living, better days right now than we realize. And also, we'll see that right now we are in moments of life that one day we'll wish we could have back, and that one day we only wish to embody. I mean, how many times were you in high school? How many times were you in middle school? And you saw some 20-year-old, like, with the freedom and with the autonomy to do things, and you wanted that, right? We constantly wish parts of our life away in the hopes of the next moment being better. But when we're constantly wishing for the next moment, we're failing to appreciate the moment that we're in right now. And deep satisfaction, deep fulfillment comes from being completely okay with what's going on right now, at this very moment, at the very next moment, at the moment that comes after that, the present now, the eternal now. Be satisfied with that.